This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5 o'clock, Classroom to Career is part of our Hiring Hoosiers initiative dedicated to helping your kids find their future career path. This morning, we are live with a program that's giving students a jump start in the pharmacy industry. And it was an incident with police in Muncie that got a lot of attention. The reason the man in this body camera video is no longer facing charges this morning. It is 5 o'clock on your Tuesday. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick. Lauren Casey has the morning off. And meteorologist Todd Clausen is with me now. And Todd, you're not only going to break some kind of bad news, I'd say, but a lot of people are going to be breaking a sweat today as well, if that gives you a hint.
Definitely the sweat. I guess the news is kind of a matter of your perspective. If you kind of shifted into fall mode, you're not going to like today's forecast as much as if you are a summer lover with the heat that is going to be building in. So what do you need to grab before you go? Here, really just the sunglasses. You don't have to worry about any rain gear. You don't have to worry about the jacket. That is for sure here for the day today. In fact, temperatures this morning are running almost 15 degrees warmer in many locations than they were yesterday morning. 70 in Indy, 65 in Bloomington, even northern locations this morning. You are in the mid 60s, pair of 6s in Kokomo. 63 right now is the current temperature up in portions of Logansport. So here's just a little band of cloud cover that's moving through. It's going to go through uneventful. No rainfall here this morning. Just call it partly cloudy. The storms you do see, they are going to stay off to our north. You do not have to worry about those. So today, it's all about the heat. Already into the low 80s by the time we get to the noon hour, with our high temperature this afternoon. Meredith climbing all the way up to 90 degrees.
Todd, thank you. Here is a live look from our INDOT traffic camera this morning. This is I-465 at Ditch Road. Traffic already starting to pick up there in this area here just minutes after the 5 o'clock hour. We will have live looks at more traffic cameras throughout the morning. When you get a cold, you head to the doctor's office and you leave with a prescription. Students at Area 31 Career Center are working to become pharmacy techs who will then fill that order to help you get better. Our Aaron Lish is live there this morning. And Aaron, these students are doing some pretty impressive work. Pharmacy is not an easy gig.
It's not. It's really impressive here. They are getting set up to work in places like CVS and Walgreens, all the way to in that hospital setting. So here at Area 31 Career Center, they have a mock pharmacy inside, and in this time they learn how to measure, mix, count, label, and record doses of medicine. And in that hospital setting, they're also being taught how to fill IV bags, and they're also learning something important here: patient confidentiality and the ethics in pharmacy practices. One former student who's now working as a pharmacy tech says this program provides a better idea of what this industry is all about.
Bringing light to this program, this type of field, is great because it lets people know what the people behind the counter are dealing with.
We do a lot of community give back projects in here as well. We are here to service the community, and I feel like they need to learn that from the get-go by actually going out and doing.
So through this program, they can take their pharmacy boards, earn an associate's degree, and get their ASHP Pharmacy Tech accreditation, which they're instructed national accreditation, and Area 31 is the first high school in the entire country to have this. And we're going to actually hear a little bit more from current students and what they think about this program in the next half hour. But for now, back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. If you're looking to learn more about these career programs or other job opportunities in Central Indiana, our Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page is a big help. That's where you can find posts from prospective companies looking for new employees and all of our other Hiring Hoosiers stories. That's all just a click away for you on the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page. At 5:04, the investigation continues this morning after an elderly couple died in a fire at their home in Mooresville. Crews were called to the house in the area of Indiana and High Streets around 4 o'clock Monday afternoon. The coroner says 79-year-old Mary Featherston died at the scene. Her husband, 84-year-old Donald Featherston, later died at Eskenazi Hospital. The cause of the fire is not clear right now. A Muncie man accused of resisting police and drug possession is no longer facing charges related to an incident captured on body cameras. A warning for you, this video may be hard to watch.
Oh my God, please, I'm not doing nothing.
Call 6 Investigates first told you about this case last fall. In June of last year, Muncie police responded to a tip about a man named Jesse Vernon dealing drugs. An officer found a bag allegedly thrown by Vernon with money and drugs inside, and that led to the arrest and then altercation. Last week, Delaware County prosecutors dismissed all 4 criminal charges against Vernon. Now, RTV6 reached out to the prosecuting attorney to find out the reason behind the decision. He told us, quote, the defendant and another person were riding a bicycle at night at nighttime, and the officers observed one of the 2 persons throw a bag which ultimately contained the drugs. We are unable to prove beyond a reasonable doubt which person threw the bag, end quote. Muncie police told RTV6 they were unaware of the charges being dismissed. A southern Indiana judge charged in connection with a fight and shooting outside a White Castle in downtown Indianapolis will not spend any time in jail. On Monday, Clark County Circuit Court Judge Andrew Adams pleaded guilty to battery resulting in bodily injury. As a part of the agreement, prosecutors dismissed 6 additional charges against Adams. He received a suspended sentence of 365 days in jail. Adams and a fellow judge were shot and wounded in May outside a fast food restaurant not far from Lucas Oil Stadium. The other judge was not charged. Today is your chance to voice your opinion about a proposal to raise your IPL bill. The company is asking for a series of rate hikes spread out over 7 years. Bills would go up between 0.8 and 1.3% between next year and 2026. A public meeting will be held this evening at 6 o'clock at the Schweitzer Student Center on the UIndy campus. A project to transform a major road in Hamilton County is now officially underway. Government, business leaders, and other officials gathered on Monday at the southwest corner of State Road 37 and 126th Street to mark the start of the State Road 37 improvement project. Several intersections in Fishers will be turned into roundabout interchanges similar to Keystone Avenue in Carmel. Changes will be made from 126th to 146th Street. The full project is expected to be complete in 2022. An Indianapolis organization is asking for your help after someone vandalized a historic and beloved piece of public art. The piano that sits outside the District Theater on Mass Ave is so badly damaged it cannot make music. The damage includes broken front and top panels and a pedal that was snapped off. Now Indy Fringe hopes to raise $5,000 to help repair and restore the piano. If you would like to donate, you can head on over to the RTV6 app and click on this story for information. At 5:07, there is something pretty futuristic happening at Purdue University. Come take a look at this. You can now get food delivered by a robot at the tap of a phone. Monday was the first day that Starship Deliveries rolled out its fleet to deliver food from any restaurant anywhere on Purdue's campus. Through an app, you order food and watch on a map as the robot brings it to you so you can unlock it and get your food. Each robot can carry up to 20 pounds and usually makes its trips within minutes. Todd, I am so glad they did not have that when I was a student there, because I would have gotten into a lot of trouble and probably would have had a Puccini's pizza delivered to me daily.
Right, you could be chilling. What do they call the fountain there that you just saw, the big fountain there?
Oh, goodness gracious. Hey, but if it carries 20 pounds, that's great for, you know, you can get food for the whole floor at the dorm.
That's right. That's right, the dorm, yeah, that fountain there, that looked like a good place to be, chilling there with the water and just get that robot to come bring you some food on a day like today, where we're talking about temperatures eventually that'll be climbing up into the 90s. So here's your temperature trend as you get going over the next few hours and start off your Tuesday, grabbing that cup of coffee. Temperatures will be a little bit warmer. We're going to be in the mid to upper 60s here this morning with skies that are going to be partly cloudy, and you can see some of the clouds streaming through the state right now. You do not see any rain. That is the good news. We are not going to be dealing with any threat of rain for the day today. The storms aren't too far away, but they are going to stay well up to our north. And here's the reason why. This area of high pressure, big factor in our forecast in 2 ways. One, the southerly winds are going to help to bring our temperatures up into the 90s, but it's also going to keep all these storms from Chicago back to Omaha suppressed to the north. So it's a hot day for us today with temperatures in the upper 80s to the north. A low 90s will be high temperatures in southern locations. So make sure you're prepared as you walk out the door to start your day.
Todd, thank you. Today, the FDA is set to send a letter to e-cigarette maker Juul. The reason they're accusing the company of misleading students about the potential dangers of vaping. And a wild fight breaks out in the middle of a youth hockey game. We'll show you what happened and why 2 people are now facing charges this morning. We'll be right back.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6.
The FDA is sending a warning letter to Juul today saying they illegally promoted their e-cigarettes by claiming they are less harmful than regular cigarettes. The government says Juul needs to correct its marketing or face fines, possibly even have products seized. This was based on a hearing over the summer where Congress heard students tell stories of Juul representatives coming to their school. The reps told students that Juul was totally safe, or 99% safer than cigarettes. Juul needed to present evidence to get approval from the FDA to make these claims. Some experts say it can be dangerous to lump THC vaping in with nicotine vaping. More than 2 million people have quit smoking by using vaping products, but the long-term effects of e-cigarettes is not yet known. Fighting is a part of hockey, but one incident at a hockey game in Canada ended with criminal charges being filed. This fight happened during a youth hockey game in Alberta. In the video, you can see 2 men going after a referee on the ice before tackling him and punching him repeatedly. This all happened after a player got into an argument with the ref and was ejected from the game. The 10-year-old then swung his stick repeatedly at the ref. Now those 2 men are facing charges in the case. A high school in Tennessee is backtracking this morning after their punishment went viral. It all started when staff at Central High School in Chattanooga decided to paint over all the mirrors in school bathrooms. The decision to paint the mirrors was made because officials said students were spending too much time in the bathroom and it was making them late to class. But that didn't sit well with parents and students.
Being able to walk in and make sure there's nothing in your teeth, or make sure your makeup's fine or your hair's not crazy, being able to walk out confidently when there's bullying and so much going on and people already have such a poor self-image in high school.
Shortly after this decision was made, the school's principal apologized and said that the school would return the mirrors to normal. The recovery process is underway this morning in the Bahamas as the island nation tries to get back on track after Hurricane Dorian. This morning, the death toll stands at more than 40, but officials say that number is virtually guaranteed to rise. 70,000 people are now homeless, and aid groups are working around the clock to address the unfolding humanitarian crisis. The Governor General of the Bahamas said this is the worst hurricane the country has ever faced.
There is no question that our people and our country have suffered a most grievous blow at the hands of nature. We all know that from time to time throughout our history, we have had encounters with hurricanes of varying magnitudes, but none like Dorian.
Crews are still going door to door, searching through the rubble of homes, looking for any additional victims. It could be years before the island returns to normal. Back here at home, it's 5:15, and Todd, it is going to feel tropical out there today.
Yeah, it's going to be a warm one. There's no doubt about it, and it feels even warmer when you're not used to it, right? We've held temperatures. Well, yesterday we climbed into the low 80s, but over the weekend we were in the 70s, but we're back into the 90s for many of you here throughout central Indiana for the day today. And it's mainly a dry forecast going forward. There's a small chance of a few isolated thunderstorms tomorrow, but today is going to be dry from start to finish, and then it's hot through Thursday. Once we get to Friday, that's when the cold front will come through, and that's going to break us from all this heat and some humidity that is going to come up as well over the course of the next few days. Here's the view outside right now. The temperature sits at 70 degrees. That dew point's creeping up into the mid-60s. That's where it's starting to get a little borderline uncomfortable, but not terrible. Winds are out of the southeast at 9 miles per hour, and here are those temperatures for you all across the area. 64 in Crawfordsville, 68 in Richmond. So everybody's within just a couple degrees of each other here temperature-wise this morning, with skies that are partly cloudy. There's some high thin cloud cover starting to work its way through. You don't see any precipitation though on Storm Team 6 radar here, and that is the good news. As we expand out, you see some really heavy rain in between Green Bay and Chicago. That'll impact the Milwaukee area here this morning. But that is essentially going to make its way across Lake Michigan and through the state of Michigan, and it will not impact us here in central Indiana. So it's a good day for us from start to finish. Just kind of contend with that heat. 82 degrees by the time we get to the noon hour, with our high temperature later on this afternoon getting up to 90 degrees. And then even this evening, we're going to see the temperature start to fall back. But if you are going to the big concert down at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Meredith wishes she could be there for the Backstreet Boys. They are back in town here with temperatures that will be in the mid-80s as you're heading towards Bankers Life Fieldhouse, and then eventually falling back down into the 70s as that show wraps up. But if you're grabbing dinner or drinks before the show there, it's going to be a warm one for you. And then looking forward in the forecast tomorrow, up to 90 degrees for your high temperature. Tomorrow is one of those days, though, where I'll probably have to throw in the chance of maybe an isolated thunderstorm as we get into the peak heating tomorrow. And you can see this on TrueCast here. Just an isolated shower storm is going to flare up during the afternoon hours tomorrow. Not expecting any severe weather. That's the good news for us here across the area. But just don't be shocked if there's a downpour or two flaring up on Wednesday afternoon. But it's nothing that's going to cancel any plans. If you do see one, it'll move through very, very quickly. And then you'll be in great shape going forward throughout the remainder of the day. Looking ahead to Thursday, the heat continues with a high temperature right around 90 degrees. Friday's the day we target here with the front coming through. Once that cold front passes through, it's a pretty nice stretch of weather, it looks like, just in time for the weekend, with highs that'll be in the low to mid 80s. Meredith?
All right, Todd, thank you. And I would like it to be known that I was a loyal NSYNC fan back in the day. So that's who I'd rather see in concert, but no hate to BSB. Hey, let's get a live look here at I-70 west of High School Road. You can see cars cruising along just fine this morning. No issues to report at this hour. RTV6 is working on a very special initiative to try to help people who may be struggling. Today is World Suicide Prevention Day. So this morning we're taking part in a 2-hour Stop the Music initiative with Radio 1 Indy and the Indianapolis Recorder. We're teaming up with mental health experts, local leaders, and survivors for the 2-hour ad and music-free discussion. You can hear that on all Radio 1 Indy stations and also on our RTV6 Facebook page from 10 a.m. to noon today. And here on RTV6, our Alyssa Donovan will be live starting at 6 a.m. with resources and stories of people impacted. People are going to extreme lengths to try to stop these annoying robocalls. The reason apps that block those frustrating calls may not be the best option. And we are expecting our first official look at the brand new iPhones, what experts say you can expect from the new devices, coming up.
Prices at Ross. Yes for less.
As we get more and more robocalls, many people are doing more to stop them. Some even paying for apps that screen spam calls. But sometimes those apps can block calls we actually want. Experts tell USA Today that 10% of the calls blocked by apps are legit. Many times they're from places like your bank or doctor's office, even customer support when they have a callback feature. Weather alerts or a warning about an active shooter situation could also be blocked. There are a couple of reasons legit calls do get blocked.
A lot of schools actually use illegal numbers because they're using old PBX systems. So we have one that'll say 949, 611 something as the phone number they're calling from, which is not a legal number. And so they may well get blocked even by the carriers.
Other companies or organizations may get blocked because scammers will spoof their legitimate numbers. What can you do to make sure the right calls get through? Experts say let all calls go to voicemail, manually screening them yourself. Some big changes coming for the Indiana Fever. Pokey Chapman will not be back for a 4th season as head coach and general manager of the WNBA franchise. The team made the announcement on Monday following a season in which Chapman and the Fever finished with 13 wins and 21 losses. The team says the search for a new coach and general manager will begin right away. When the 2020 Fever season begins, the new coach will not be on the sidelines at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. The team will be playing home games in 2020 and part of 2021 at Butler's Hinkle Fieldhouse as Bankers Life goes through a major renovation. There was a wild start to the first Monday Night Football game of the season. It certainly looked like the Houston Texans were going to capture a huge road victory over New Orleans when they scored a go-ahead touchdown with less than a minute left in the game. But Drew Brees and the Saints were not done yet. In 37 seconds, Brees led the team down the field, setting up a 58-yard field goal attempt for New Orleans. Will Lutz knocked it through as time expired, giving the Saints a 30-28 victory. You can't stop former Boilermaker Brees. Today, we could get a glimpse into the future. Apple is planning a big product unveiling today in California. So what can you expect to see? Most experts expect us to get a look at some brand new iPhones, but they say it will likely not involve anything foldable or substantially different from last year. According to reports, Apple will likely show off 3 new high-end iPhones: the iPhone 11 Pro, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and the iPhone 11. This morning, we have a moment that has gone viral, and it is guaranteed to make you smile. 2 toddlers are lighting up social media. Take a look at this. This is 26-month-old Maxwell and his best friend, 27-month-old Finnegan. Just look at the pure joy they got at the sight of one another. They run right into each other's arms to give one another a big hug. The pint-sized best buddies have known each other for more than a year now. I mean, they're not even 2 yet. It is a special relationship, and their parents are good friends as well. Oh, and I wish we could just hear the little squeals that they were making when they saw each other. Oh,
that is cute.
I wish someone was that happy to see me.
I could give you a hug when you come in the morning
Todd,
if you want. But I was watching that right before we went on, and you just heard me laugh. I was like, oh, it's so cute. And,
yeah, no matter who you are, I think that has to make you smile.
Yeah, just absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, outside right now, we're dealing with warm conditions already. Temperatures are in the 60s and 70s. We'll warm quickly here this morning to high temperatures, eventually up into the 90s, but already into the 80s by the noon hour. So as you grab that cup of coffee, kind of think ahead here throughout the day today, and grab maybe some water to take with you if you're going to be out and about. You'll certainly need it as you work up a sweat, as those temperatures again will be in the upper 80s to the north, a low 90s even in some southern locations as we deal with some late season heat here and skies that'll be mostly sunny. The time now is 5:27. Stay with Good Morning Indiana. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.
Today at 10 on RTV6. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
I didn't hesitate at all with vaping. I'd always get something new every week. I poured a lot of money into it.
Only on RTV6, an Indiana man says his lungs collapsed because of vaping. This morning, the important message he wants you to hear. Plus, the Grant County woman accused of killing her stepdaughter makes a shocking announcement in the courtroom. Hear how it could impact her future. But first, thanks for starting your Tuesday with us here on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Meredith Barrick. Lauren Casey has the morning off, and we want to start things off with weather. The sun isn't shining right now, but once it does come up, Todd, the temps will also start to rise.
Yeah, very, very quickly those temperatures will go up, and since we're starting a little bit warmer here this morning, we're going to finish a little bit warmer than the high of 84 that we saw yesterday. So what do you need for your morning checklist? You do not need the jacket or the rain gear. You need the sunglasses today, and we'll check the workout off here for this morning. This morning it's going to be better, and then later on this afternoon, simply because the temperatures obviously a lot cooler here this morning than they will be later on today. 65 right now in Bloomington, 66 in Tipton, 70s the current temperature in Indy, and 67 as you make your way over into the Greensburg area. So there's some high thin clouds moving through, but no rain. So I'll just call it partly cloudy this morning for your commute into work. Where there is a lot of rainfall this morning is up in southern Wisconsin, but all this rain is heading off towards the north and east. It will not impact us here in central Indiana throughout the day today. So all you have to do is prepare yourself for the heat. We're already into the mid 80s by the noon hour, about 84 degrees, and high temperatures today will top off right around 90 degrees for most of us, upper 80s probably to the north, but even as warm as maybe 91, 92 degrees in southern locations. So it's all about the heat today and through Thursday. More on the extended forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Meredith.
Todd, thank you. We want to take a live look right now from our INDOT traffic camera. This is I-70 at Rural Street, Keystone Avenue. You can see traffic moving along just fine in that area. This is part of a detour, though, for the closure on I-465 on the east side. We do anticipate traffic will pick up in this area as we move through the morning, so just make sure to keep a close eye on it. We do have one quick crash to tell you about this morning. It is up on the city's northwest side, I-465 at I-65. That is just north of where this camera is. You can detour this area by taking I-465 up to I-865, then west back to I-65 north. We'll continue to monitor this area and let you know when that crash is cleared up. RTV6 is working for you, sharing a warning from a Crawfordsville man who believes he is a victim of vaping.
The more I think about it, the scarier it kind of gets, because we really don't know.
Kyle Lano was just 20 years old when his lungs collapsed, his left lung last summer and his right lung less than a month ago. He spent 6 days in the hospital. Now, doctors cannot definitely say his health problems are caused by vaping, but Kyle is convinced that's the case.
I didn't know how serious it was until I was actually in the hospital, until they showed me how small my lung was. That freaked me out.
The products came onto the scene so quickly and became popular so quickly that then it's just hard sometimes for that data to make its way into the mainstream and people to become aware of what those health risks might be.
Kyle is sharing his story just days after the Department of Health announced a death in Indiana connected to vaping. Dozens of lung illnesses in the state and hundreds across the country are being linked to vaping. On Monday, the Food and Drug Administration warned the popular company Juul about illegally marketing vaping products as a safer alternative to cigarettes. Under federal law, companies must show scientific evidence before marketing tobacco products as a better option. Juul has just 15 days to comply with the law or risk fines or other action. The investigation into a possible pipe bomb found inside a Muncie home continues this morning. Officers found the potentially explosive device in a home near East 15th and South Elm Streets while investigating a previous shooting. After finding the pipe bomb, officers called in the bomb squad to investigate. They determined the pipe bomb was live and removed the bomb to take care of it at a safer location. The device will be now analyzed at the State Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Lab. New this morning, one person is in the hospital following a late-night shooting on Indianapolis's west side. The shooting happened just after 11 near 13th and North LaSalle Street. Metro Police tell us the victim is expected to survive their injuries, but there's no word this morning on the search for a shooter or what led up to that gunfire. This morning, the Gas City woman charged with murdering her stepdaughter is set to face a jury in 5 months. A trial date for Amanda Carmack is scheduled for February 3rd. Carmack is accused of strangling 10-year-old Skylee Carmack. The girl's body was found last week in a shed behind the family's home days after she went missing. Whether Amanda Carmack will have an attorney during the trial is still unclear. On Monday, she appeared in court for the first time and told the judge she will represent herself in the case. A Central Indiana teacher accused of sexual misconduct with a student now faces a formal complaint from the Indiana Department of Education. Football coach Tyler Bruce is on paid administrative leave with the Northwest Hendricks County School Corporation. The Hendricks County Sheriff's Office is investigating the claims. The Department of Education will hold a hearing to consider suspending or revoking Bruce's teaching license. Bruce has not been criminally charged and denies the allegations. The investigation into a helicopter crash near Walkerton continues this morning. That's in St. Joseph County. Authorities say the pilot was spraying crops when the chopper's engine stopped working. The helicopter crashed into a family's driveway just feet from their home. The pilot was the only one on board, and fortunately, he was not seriously injured. The FAA is investigating the crash. We expect to learn more today about a plan to make Monument Circle shine even brighter. Here's a live look at the circle at this hour. The multi-million-dollar Shining a Light on Indianapolis initiative will pay to install lighting, projection capabilities, a new sound system, and flexible staging around the circle. Planners say that will then allow the circle to be used as a possible venue for concerts and other events. At 10 this morning, organizers will outline where the project stands, share a video preview of what's to come, and announce a new website. It is 5:37 and students are working to provide high quality care to patients from the drugstore to the hospital bed. Our Aaron Lish is live outside of Area 31. And Aaron, you have more on this pharmacy tech program. They're getting an early start learning about all this.
They are. You know, the population, it's getting older. The Bureau of Labor Statistics is pointing that out, saying typically those older people, they are needing those medications more than the younger generations. So there's going to be more need for pharmacy techs to fill those prescriptions, and they are doing just that here at Area 31.
I'll grab 4, open it up. I'll put the rest in the bottle.
In Area 31 Career Center's mock pharmacy, Dana Wilson is filling prescriptions for the pharmacy tech program.
And then we'll just put this back on the counter. That's a lot of stuff we do in retail.
Which can help with landing a job in the medical field.
Any career path that has to deal with any type of medicine. So you have to learn that foundation first before you can move forward.
Labeling pill bottles, filling IV bags, and learning patient confidentiality are a few things done at the program. But the first step is outreach to those they hope to serve.
We do a lot of community give back projects in here as well. We are here to service the community, and I feel like they need to learn that from the get-go by actually going out and doing.
They can take their pharmacy boards, earn an associate's degree, and get the ASHP Pharmacy Tech accreditation. This program brings a bright light to the industry, according to a former student who's now in the workforce.
It was great because it lets people know what the people behind the counter are dealing with.
And for Wilson, who's in her final year of school, she says this is setting her up for success to become a nurse.
I like seeing people get better. I want to be a part of somebody's life, seeing them, maybe if they come into hospital hurt, and just going through that process and helping them get better.
So it's expected over the next 10 years that the need for pharmacy techs will go up by 7%, and that is the fastest growing, more than the national average for all other careers. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Aaron. The time now is 5:39 as you walk out the door. Over the course of the next few minutes, or maybe it's an hour from now, it's going to be a lot warmer than it was yesterday, and the humidity is starting to come up a little bit as well, and I do think you'll notice that throughout the day today. Maybe not so much this morning, but especially later on this afternoon, as we've had to kind of push that needle from the just great comfortable level into the getting sticky category. I don't think we'll quite get into the very muggy or the oppressive humidity the next few days. But when you combine it with the temperatures that'll be near 90 degrees, heat index values will become a talker once again here in the weather forecast. We could see heat index values as warm as 97, 98 degrees in the coming days. This morning as the kids head off to school, though, we are talking about a temperature right around 69 degrees with partly cloudy skies. They do not need the rain gear here for the day today. And as the kids come home, temperatures will be topping off right around 90 degrees here in many locations with a mixture of sun and clouds. So you can send them out to play, obviously. No weather-related issues, but make sure they stay hydrated, and stay hydrated yourself as well. We'll talk more about your extended forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
We'll see you then, Todd. Thank you. This morning, all of the crew members aboard a capsized ship off the Georgia coast are now accounted for. After the break, how long officials say it will take to remove the massive vessel. Plus, an Indiana college named the best in the country. Straight ahead, why it's not the school's first time with the prestigious ranking. It's 5:40, and we are taking a live look right now at I-465 at West 56th Street. This was an area that we told you about a crash a few moments ago. Well, the good news is they got that cleaned up quickly, and the area is clear. We'll be right back.
Free flu shot today at your neighborhood Walgreens.
Voters in North Carolina's 9th congressional district will head to the polls today in a special election. Democrat Dan McCready and Republican Dan Bishop are vying for a seat that's been vacant since state officials invalidated last November's midterm election results. The results were thrown out following allegations of voter fraud. President Trump says he doesn't see the race as a bellwether. Comedian Hasan Minhaj is headed to Capitol Hill today. He'll testify before the House Financial Services Committee about the high cost of student loans. Minhaj has hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner and has his own Netflix show called Patriot Act with Hasan Minhaj. Salvage operations for the dive boat that burned on Labor Day morning will resume tomorrow if weather permits. The U.S. Coast Guard says they hope to bring the boat to the surface on Friday and then again on Monday, but the project had to be postponed due to weather and safety concerns. The Conception sank following an early morning fire aboard the dive boat that claimed the lives of 34 passengers. Investigators have not yet determined a cause of the fire. 4 sailors at home this morning rescued. They are safe this morning despite the cargo ship they were on toppling onto its side and catching fire. As ABC's Serena Marshall reports, it could take months to get the ship upright.
Trapped for more than 30 hours. Daylight. The last of the Golden Ray crew on land in this video captured by the Coast Guard. The 4 all smiles and relief following the daring rescue. Coast Guard rescue crews working for hours.
Their condition is relatively good for having spent close to 34 or 35 hours in the conditions they are in.
The desperate rescue success attributed to salvagers locating the men after hearing them tap on the ship.
It's more important that the crew knew where to go so they could touch the steel on the outside of the ship to make those taps.
The 4 crew members had originally been feared lost.
The cargo ship just flipped over in the channel. You need to call Coast Guard.
The massive cargo ship, carrying more than 4,000 cars, made a turn, capsized, and caught fire. 20 of the crew members were almost immediately pulled to safety, but rescue teams working in sweltering temperatures that felt like 120 degrees, drilling a hole 3 inches at a time into the hull's steel plates. Inside the ship, even hotter. But 36 hours after those first calls for help,
all vessels are requested to keep a sharp lookout, assist if possible.
All 24 crew members of the overturned 650-foot ship accounted for. The rescuers proud of the happy ending they orchestrated.
Now the work turns towards figuring out what went wrong and removing that ship from that busy waterway, which could take weeks or months. Already, environmentalists are expressing concern as pools of oil have become clearly visible. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
All right, here's a live look outside right now at Monument Circle, and you can see it is dry out there as we are looking at over here on the IPO building for Suicide Prevention Week. All lit up for that. All right, outside right now we are dealing with temperatures that are currently in the 60s and 70s. 65 in Bloomington, 70 right now in Indianapolis. 71 is the current temperature in Muncie. So you're walking out the door to temperatures this morning that are a little bit warmer than they have been the past a few mornings across the area, and we have a little bit of cloud cover that's kind of streaming through this morning. Very similar to yesterday. We had those clouds that moved through yesterday. We developed a few showers. That is not going to be the case here this morning. But for some of you, it may take a little while once the sun comes up for some of these clouds to burn off, and then we'll be left with skies that'll be partly cloudy across the area. Pretty good line of storms this morning stretching from Wisconsin back into portions of Iowa. These are all moving off towards the northeast, as you see, so they will not impact us here in central Indiana. We have a dry day for us today with high pressure that is down to the south. It is going to keep us high and dry, and it's also going to help to warm us up and increase the humidity a little bit with those southerly winds. Let me walk you through the day hour by hour. Here are your temperatures as we push through the noon hour. We're into the mid 70s. As we get to the noon hour, we'll be climbing up into the low to mid 80s at this point, about 84 in Fishers, 83 in Bloomington. Then high temperatures today will generally be right around 90 degrees from Indianapolis to the south, just slightly cooler mid to upper 80s in northern locations by 5 p.m. And then as we work our way into the evening hours, still in the 80s by 8 p.m. And it's not probably until once the sun sets and we get closer to the 11 o'clock hour, temperatures fall back into the 70s. Then overnight tonight, 60s and 70s for most of central Indiana. It's going to be a warm overnight period. It's going to be muggy as well. So instead of just having the windows open, you may have to throw the air conditioner on, at least to maybe just knock the humidity down a little bit before you go to sleep. Now, tomorrow, we're looking at a forecast of 90 degrees for your high temperature with the chance of a few isolated storms off and on throughout the day. I didn't say that this is actually going to happen at 9, 10 o'clock. I think with TrueCast and this pattern that we're in, it's more of just showing that the chance will be there off and on throughout the day tomorrow for some isolated thunderstorms to flare up. Definitely not going to be a washout of the day with temperatures right around 90 degrees, and the heat's just going to continue into Thursday as well as we see the temperature get up to 90 degrees with dry conditions. The best chance of rain, that's going to be on Friday. This is when the actual cold front will come through, and it's going to knock the temperatures down just a little bit on Saturday as we go down 81 degrees, but then we're just going to warm back up into the mid 80s by the time we get to Sunday and Monday. So really straight across the board, more of a summer-like feel to the 7-day planning forecast compared to a fall-like feel. Meredith?
Todd, thank you. Want to take a live look down in Greenwood this morning. Good morning to everyone in Johnson County. You can see traffic heading into the city picking up in that area, but there are no crashes to report at this hour. Hiring Hoosiers is our commitment to connect you to jobs, resources, and training. And this morning, UPS says it's getting ready for the holiday season by going on a hiring spree. The company says it plans to hire 100,000 seasonal employees across the country for the holidays. Most of the positions will be for package handlers, drivers, and driver helpers. The increase in hiring comes as UPS predicts the volume of its packages it handles will grow starting in November through January 2020. UPS says it expects to hire more than a third of its seasonal workers permanently after the holidays. An Indiana college once again named among the best in the country. Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology leads the pack in engineering schools. That's according to the U.S. News and World Report. The #1 ranking is featured in its 2020 Best Colleges Guide. 5 of Rose-Hulman's engineering programs received top marks. This is the 21st consecutive year Rose-Hulman has been named the nation's top engineering college. Congrats to them. A new Barbie will hit stores later this week. After the break, the designer's message behind the limited edition doll. That's coming up.
Man, a call and be treated with the respect that you deserve.
Barbie lovers, there's a new collectible doll coming to store shelves this week. The Dia de los Muertos Barbie represents the Mexican Day of the Dead festival, which honors departed loved ones. Mattel says the doll honors the traditions, symbols, and rituals often seen throughout this time. The Day of the Dead Barbie costs $75. Very cool. And a very cool catch off the coast of Maine. A fisherman caught this extremely rare two-tone lobster. He spared the red and brown crustacean and gave it to the Maine Center for Coastal Fisheries. It's now available in the Touch Tank. The University of Maine says the odds of finding such a red and brown lobster are 1 in 50 million. Surprisingly, though, it is not the rarest lobster. The odds of finding an albino are 1 in 100 million. It is what you get when you cross Microsoft and Broadway. Microsoft the Musical is making rounds on the internet.
Our buddy Bill, he had a dream that long ago did seem obscene, but he built a team and picked up steam. Now look what it's become.
The Tony Award style song and video was made by a group of about 150 Microsoft interns and staff. It was filmed at Microsoft's corporate campus in Redmond, Washington over the summer. The number runs through the history of Microsoft while touching on the company's mission to empower people and organizations to achieve more. The interns said it took them about 8 weeks during their off time to make Microsoft the Musical. Todd, is this what you're going to start doing when you take your mid-morning breaks?
Probably not.
Start writing some music for RTV6 the Musical?
Maybe I'll craft something up, but I won't be voicing it.
I was going to say, just one piece of advice. Don't cast me as your lead because people would not want to hear that.
There's much more talented singers in this building than the two of us. Yeah. We'll have to find them, though. All right, outside right now, we're talking about temperatures that are in the 60s and 70s across the area. Radar is nice and quiet, and radar stays quiet for the day today. That's not an issue for us. These temperatures, though, they will warm very quickly throughout the day today once the sun comes up, and we'll have mostly sunny skies throughout the day today. And we're talking about a high temperature of 90 degrees. The humidity, that'll start to come up as well. So it's not going to be that super oppressive humidity, but it's going to be enough that I think you'll notice that's going to make this 90 feel more probably like 95 during the peak heating of the day.
Todd, thank you. Our Classroom to Career series continues this morning. Coming up all new at 6, our Aaron Lish introduces us to a program giving students experience as pharmacy technicians. You won't want to miss that. Stick with us.